What's up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast interview, where every single week I bring in top real estate professionals, top entrepreneurs, and strip top badasses out there dominating their space. And today, guys, we got another amazing, epic guest here on the GSD Mode podcast, a good friend of mine who's one of the top agents, team leaders here in the state of Arizona, as well as in the country. Now, his team is on track to do over 600 closings here in 2024 without spending a cent in marketing. So this is a high-producing team leader that crushes it with production, that's continuing to grow and scale their business, even in this challenging market, without spending a cent on leads. So really stoked and honored to have my good friend Dustin Runyon on the podcast and be able to break down his journey and have him share with you all the amazing things that he's done and continues to do to create a high level of success inside of his real estate business. Now, real quick, before we jump into this podcast, make sure to check out gsdmode.com for more additional free training, more additional free resources. And I highly encourage you to schedule a 100% free, zero strings attached Zoom coaching call with me personally, where we're going to spend an hour together doing a deep dive breakdown into your real estate business, what your goals are, what you're currently doing, what your biggest obstacles are. And then I can map out what my recommended best strategy is for you to get you exactly from where you're at to where it is that you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner possible. So if you want to take advantage of that, go to gsdmode.com. All right, now let's jump on into this amazing podcast interview with Dustin Runyon. All right, Dustin, back for round two. What's up, brother?
What's up, dude? Thank you so much for having me again, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I'm stoked, man. It's been a long time, man. I mean, what we were saying is 5-6 years since our last podcast.
Yep, since the last podcast, yeah.
Yeah. And when I saw you speak, was that about a month or two ago at Tyler Blair's event, and excited to dive into, because you're somebody that's crushed it and continuing to kick ass. Even in this challenging time, most people's businesses are down right now, and you're continuing growing and crushing it, man. But everything going good?
Yeah, everything's going good, man. Yeah, a lot of admiration for you as well. So I'm excited for today's talk. But yeah, everything's going good, man. We've got the real estate team rocking. We got the developments rocking, doing some coaching here and there, and yeah, man, I'm blessed and excited about what's to come.
Yeah, dude. So give us some context of like, what do you projected from the team side to like units closed this year? Like, where are you guys at?
Yeah, we should close right below 600. The original I thought was 600, so right below 600 deals. We'll do a little over 200 million in volume here in Lake Havasu City. So, and we're in some other markets too. We got some we're in like New Mexico and Idaho and Washington and some other places.
Yeah. And then you got, you mentioned about 30, a team of 30-ish?
Yeah, 35 licensed agents. And then I've got a director of operations. I've got a transactional coordinator. We've got our marketing specialist. We have 2 VAs, and then we've got about 30 active agents that are selling.
Yep. Awesome, dude. And then with the development company, so you guys are, you're developing like full-on subdivisions, right? Like straight up builder.
Yeah, correct. So yeah, I had a friend that I actually went to high school with, reached out to me, and I have one of my best friends. She's on my team, and I would always do Thanksgivings with her family. And I'd seen him at a Christmas one year, and he reached out to me one day, and he's like, "Hey, you want to meet up?" And I'm like, "Sure." So I reach out to Jenna. I'm like, "What's your cousin want?" He goes, "I have no clue." And this guy was doing excavating, so he owned an excavation company where he had a team of about 50 guys, and they were grading some of the biggest projects in town. And I was selling some of the biggest projects in town. So I was representing the developers. He was working for the developers. So he hit me up and he's like, you want to do a project on our own? We're already doing it for everybody else. You're selling it. I'm grading it. And I had another buddy who was friends with another good friend of mine. They had gotten married, and I was at his wedding like a year before, and he's an engineer, civil engineer. So he was doing all the engineering. So ended up partnering me, a civil engineer, and an excavation company that does heavy equipment. And we got together about 5 years ago, and we started raising capital. And yeah, we take raw land. We do design, plan, engineering. We grade it out. We put in infrastructure, and we build houses on top of it.
Yeah, and you guys do quite a bit of volume, dude. Like what is, I mean, what are you projected to do unit count there this year?
Just on the developments.
Yeah.
So we currently have 500 acres developed, or 500 acres that we're developing right now. This year we should probably, because we stopped selling lots. So what we realized, like one year we did about 52 units of sold lots. We sold 52 lots in a subdivision, which was a luxury subdivision. And we watched all of the builders build on top of those lots. And we're thinking to ourselves, and we're building one or two houses, and we're thinking to ourselves, like, um, why are we setting this up for other builders to just crush, right? And so that's when we're like, we gotta start building. And so we just started that about 6 months ago, where we went full on in building. So we have the exclusive building in these subdivisions now. So we're the exclusive builder. We just broke ground on 7 of them right now in Trinity, which is our luxury subdivision. So that will happen next year. So we're looking to close out about 12 homes next year. So 12 total there. And then our affordable housing project, which is an 1,100 home subdivision, that one we're going to be doing about 42 homes at a time in each phase. And we're going to build all of those at once. That's more of an affordable project. So hoping to get all of those done next year. So if everything goes planned, we're looking at about maybe 50 units next year to 52 units building with the land and the home.
Yeah. And then how do you leverage the development with your team? Is it like, okay, like listing opportunities, I'm sure sign calls.
Absolutely. So I look at kind of like my team is like this bubble. And my job as the leader is to grow the bubble so people can live inside of it, right? And I know people probably heard this, but every other company I've always worked with, I always pop the bubble. So I always ended up frustrated because the leader wasn't growing the organization big enough for me to live in it. And so with the developments, that was like the next step. I'm like, how can I keep some of the biggest savages ever? Well, I can have these developments give opportunities. Number one, investment opportunities, so they can invest in it because we raise all private equity, and we raise all the capital, no debt, and so they're able to invest in these deals with us. One, two, we have a model at each, just like you said, we have a model at every single one of the subdivisions as well. Like right now, we're just finishing up the one in Trinity, and we're going to have about 10 offices in there. So they're able to sit the model, get all the sign calls from it, lead generate from it, market it, shoot videos for it. Like one of the gals shot a video of one of our models, got a $3.3 million buyer off of it, and then she ended up selling one of our specs. So yeah, so it's an opportunity for the team to leverage, and for as the leader of the team, to retain for retention. It's been great for retention because we're, in the town that we're in, we're doing the most as far as development's concerned.
Yep. Yeah. And you're in Lake Havasu, Arizona.
Lake Havasu, yep, about
Yep.
60,000 people here. Yeah,
Yep. Yep. Yeah, that's 60,000 people doing 600 units a year.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy. What's even crazier is, and I'll give it to there's another team here that's doing about the same. So I think between our two teams, we're very different in things, but between our two teams, man, I think we're doing like, we're doing like 20% of the business out here. Right now, we're about 10%
Yeah, that's freaking awesome, dude.
market
So,
share.
all right, man. So a lot of changes since we talked last on the podcast. I mean, a
Yeah,
lot of changes for your overall business, but just with the overall market, man. And kind of what I dive into first here, dude, is, especially these last 2 years, man, 2023, 2024 have been a different market, challenging market for most.
Mhm.
It's like most team leads I'm talking to, most brokerage owners, dude, if they're just maintaining, like, a
Yeah,
lot of them are doing good. I mean, there's a small percentage that are growing, having their best years yet, but the vast majority, dude, business is down 40%, 50%, 60%. How have you guys pivoted? Like from the
yeah,
craziness we saw in 2021, 2020, 2020,
yeah.
like what have you guys done over the last couple years to pivot to be able to
Mhm.
continue to experience this amazing growth?
Yeah, great question. Right off the bat, I'll say is, I try to focus on what I can control. Now, I know there's some companies that are so large that if the market shifts, they're going to feel it no matter what. But I believe most realtors, most of the million plus realtors that are out there, most of us, that if we focus on what we can control and we don't obsess over externals and we just focus on our behavior and our response, most of us can find ourselves in a really, really good place. So When we first started the team, and I started the team with standards. So when I was at Keller Williams, I was a team leader there, and I had this laboratory of about 20 teams, and I got to see what all worked and didn't work. And I realized a lot of teams would try to buy gadgets, buy widgets, buy certain things, buy lead sources or whatever it was to like buy their teams like buy-in. And what I was going to do is I was going to build a team strictly based off work ethic. Like I was going to be the team that if you worked for our team, you wanted to be a savage and you wanted to work hard. And that was going to be the fundamentals, and that we were going to base our business off of the traditional ways to grow a real estate business, which was open houses, which was door knocking, which was circle prospecting out of buying data and circle prospecting that way, out of sphere of influence. And because of our times today is social media. So those were going to be the main things I was going to focus on. And we had a standard of 10 connects. So you had to make 10 connects a day, every single day. There were 2-minute conversations. I don't know if I have it here, but you have to fill out a sheet, 2-minute conversations with somebody about real estate. You had to fill out your sheet and you had to turn it in every Friday. And if you didn't turn in your sheet every Friday, no worries. We just turned off your auto dialer, and we just turned off a lot of the benefits of being within the organization. And so early on, because I was in scarcity, I wavered on that a little bit. But once we had gotten rid of the people that didn't value what we valued as an organization, which was personal development, personal responsibility, and contribution, those 3 things being the main values of the organization, and we started bringing those people in, it was a game changer. And today I do not operate out of fear at any level, no scarcity, all abundance. I don't try to convince people to be in the organization or not. And so we attracted a lot of those people that had those values in their business. And my job as the leader was to live those values at an extreme. And so when things like this happen, we pivot. Like we don't overtly talk about the market a whole lot here in the office. We talk about our behavior and our action. So it went from when it started to pivot with the NAR stuff and with just a bunch of different things that started to happen, market shifts, we're at 20 connects now. So we doubled down. So it's 20 connects. I also doubled down on recruiting. Just to give context, we did about 140 million, I think 2 years ago, or maybe that was last year. We did 140 last year, 140 million last year. We'll do 200 million this year, but we have twice as many agents. So me as the leader, I doubled down on recruiting. 2, we doubled down on the standard, which was really focusing on the connects, the 20 connects, and making those 2-minute conversations. And then for me, I don't like spending money. And so I don't like spending money on things that aren't going to move the needle in the organization. So making sure we're keeping the expenses low. I saw this at the old brokerage. The leaders that didn't want to work hard wanted to throw money at things to try to solve the problem, instead of throwing work ethic at it, throwing strategy at it, and throwing just like the things that drive, which I know we've talked about this before, but the things that doubling down on the things that are the force behind human behavior, which is commitment and discipline and hard work and consistency and all of those things. A lot of times when times get hard, people throw those things out the window, and they have this entitlement of how it used to be. And if you're entitled to how it used to be, and that's like your mentality, you're just going to find decline. And so that's kind of the strategy we went with it. And I have this too, man. If you don't say it 900 times to the team, you don't say it once.
Yep.
And so really being that person that is on the forefront, being the example, my goal is to beat everybody at the office every single day. My goal is to be an example of our values. And my goal is to, I'm hitting connects every single day too. Mine are to investors to raise capital. Theirs are to buyers and sellers. So that's really what we've worked on, and really, really harnessing that into our culture.
Hey, Joshua Smith here with a quick GSD Mode podcast sponsor plug. Today's GSD Mode podcast is brought to you by my personal real estate coaching program. If you are an individual real estate agent, team leader, or brokerage owner, and you are looking to take your real estate business to the next level and you want to be coached and mentored by me personally, make sure to check out my coaching program, which is hands down the most effective real estate business building coaching program in the entire industry, while at the same time being the most affordable. So you can learn more about my coaching program at www.gsdmode.com/coaching. www.gsdmode.com/coaching. All right, now back to this GSD Mode podcast. So then, okay, making each of your agents, let's just call it maybe Monday through Friday. I don't know if this is 7 days a week or like a 5 day.
5 day, yeah.
Okay, so I mean, we're talking what, 200 dials to have 20 then conversations connects.
Spot on. In the database, if you're in our mojo, you're in our pond, what I call it. It's 200 dials to hit about 20 connects. The goal is to take them from the pond, move them into the database. Once they're into your personal database, you're going to get a connect rate of about 15 to 20%. So your connect rate's going to go up because you've already talked to them. They're somebody that you've communicated with. And then the goal from your database is to move them into your sphere of influence, because your sphere of influence connects start to go up higher too. And so the goal is to just continuously build the sphere of influence bigger and bigger and bigger within your own personal database. And that's kind of the flow of the leads.
Yeah. So then, okay. So if you're, circle prospecting, open houses, door knocking, SOI, social media, is this one of these things that we have the same plan for each agent, or is it, let's sit down, talk about maybe your strengths and weaknesses, what you want to do? Because like some people may love hitting the phone, some people may love open houses. I mean, is there some, here's your choices. You can pick and choose how you want to make those up to hit these 20 connects. Like what does that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. After about the first 90 days, as we know, like you're going to find out whether you're a fit for real estate. One, if this is even your game, especially if you're a new agent. Two, you're going to find out if you're a fit for our organization pretty quickly too, in our standards. And three, you're going to find what it is that you're good at. We start everybody out circle prospecting. I want them to do the hardest things first. We're offering free home equity reports. So, we're calling, hey, Jim, this is Dustin. I'm a local real estate agent here in town. We just listed the house about 2 doors down from you. Reason for my call is we love to give the neighbors an opportunity to choose who they live next to. We know how important it is to have good neighbors, especially in a small community like this. Do you know of anybody who'd be a great fit? They go, no. Go, great. As a courtesy, we're offering free home equity reports to all of the neighbors to let them know what their investment is worth in today's market. We know how important it is to know what your investments are worth. I'll be in your neighborhood tomorrow at 2, or would 3 work for me to drop it off? And so we're really teaching that first, and really pushing that. And then from there, we're going to open houses. And then we were bringing them out to door knock, those open houses, and the script's the exact same. Knock, knock, open house, except the difference between that script and this one is we're inviting them to the open house on Friday and Saturday. And then from there, this is my thing when it comes to social media. You don't need to create content, just document what you're doing. Right. I believe people today people want to work with successful agents. They want to work with the movers and the shakers. And so if you think you're going to you're going to create content that's going to trick people into thinking that you're moving and shaking when you're not, just don't think that's the case. So through those processes, they start to find their thing. Like I got a guy on my team right now. He'll do 100 homes this year. His name's Cody Weitzel. And he just went all in on open houses. All in. And he was holding, we got about 20 open houses going this weekend, but he was holding, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, he was doing about 4 of them a week, every week. And that became his thing. Brooke on our team, she has got a big sphere of influence and she knows people in our town. She's lived here for 20 years. She's big on social media and she's big with her sphere of influence. And so, you get to find out what it is. I always say go in all in on your strengths. I'm not picky as to after they follow that process in the beginning. I want them to go through all of it first, and then once that hits, then they find their niche and they find what it is that they're good at.
Yeah. So I know I'm going to get asked this question. So with that circle prospecting script,
Yep.
What are you seeing in this current market for overall conversion rates? I mean, is it like 2,000 dials for one listing taken? Like what does that look like today?
So the way that we look at it is instead of going off dials, it's off of home equity reports. So in order to get about one listing in the first month, I go off of a 2-10-40. If you can do 20 connects a day, you'll set about 2 home equity reports. That's about, that's 10 a week, 40 a month. Off that, you should get about one listing. And that's if you're decent. So one listing off of 40 home equity reports in your first month. But now you have 40 people in your database, right? The next month should be anywhere from 1 to 3. And if you continue this and you stay on it, and the hardest thing for our agents to do is to do the home equity reports and stay on the connects, right? That's what you're about. You start to get better. So like Cody, a veteran on our team, he's doing about 2 to 4 appointments per 20 connects.
Yeah.
So he's going up. He's more aggressive on the phone. He's more assertive, and he asks for the appointment more. And so about 40 of those home equity reports per one listing.
Okay. Yep. Now is Cody the dude that you brought to the event that you spoke at? That it's like, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
he's good, man.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
awesome.
He's a savage.
So then, I'm curious, man, when it comes to recruiting, because most agents, when they're coming to teams, maybe they're expecting leads and I mean, this is a different model, right? And they may not be hearing what they want to hear or what they're, I'm just curious, like when you switch to this, how has it been? Has it been more challenging recruiting? Or are you finding that people are maybe attracted to just the upfront brutal honesty of what it takes to fucking succeed?
Honestly, we've had some good luck with it. Again, we're in a smaller town, but what I like to do is I'd rather know up front. I went on a listing appointment. It's crazy. I went on a listing appointment because someone called me at 8 o'clock last night and they wanted me to come to the listing appointment this morning. So I said, I'm down. I go with Brooke on our team. And the guy wanted us to list $100,000 more. And I said, man, I can't meet your expectations. And I would never take on a job where I felt I couldn't exceed it. And so the same thing that comes, so we didn't get the listing. And he called back 3 times, lowering the price each time today, which is hilarious. But the same thing with these agents. I'm not going to tell someone they can work 30 hours a week right now, part time, and make 100 grand a year.
Yeah.
Like that's just my belief. If you're not committed to at least 40 to 50 hours a week, all in commitment, and you don't have your family on board as well as your spouse and your children on board with this, and you're a brand new agent, we're just not the team for you. Because I don't want you to fail under our wing. So what has it been easier or harder? I think it's been more peaceful as a leader.
Yeah.
There's been a lot more peace, right? Could we have probably double the agent? Sure. But that's just not our model. And I've got friends that have that model, right? Where they want 150, 200 person team, which is awesome. And they crush it. But for us, we're attracting more of the savages,
Yep. I mean, I moved to
Cody
the.
was,
Oh, go ahead.
well, Cody was making $120,000 salary at GM at the Albertsons, bringing in 30 million bucks a year, running a P&L there. And he wanted to start here. So those are the people that we're starting to attract when you repel some of the people who want to be the 20-hour a week, mimosas at lunch agent.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you talked a lot about standards. Um, and I know, when I saw you speak, you're talking, about like, okay, hey, I focus on standards more than the goals. So I'm curious, man, is a very successful leader. Number one, how do you identify those standards for yourself and for those that you're choosing to lead? But then it's one thing to identify them, but then the harder part is to stick to them consistently. So, the kind of second part of that then is how do you lead yourself to staying consistent by operating by those standards that you set?
That's really good. And I'm going to be really like upfront. It is a constant battle trying to get people to stick to those standards. It never gets easy, or it hasn't for me yet gotten easy where everyone just comes in and they're hammering the standards and the connects every single day. But to your first question, how do I know what the standards need to be? From guys like you, man. I've seen you speak multiple times. You have been a leader in our industry for decades here, and I've seen you speak multiple times, and from the people before me, good friends, Kevin Kaufman, Fred Weaver, following Ben Kenny from when I was 25 years old, and just following these guys. Like, this isn't my system. It's a system that I stole from guys like you and guys like Kevin and Fred and guys like Scott Lander, who's he was selling one out of every four homes in his hometown here, up in Kingman. So that's how I created it. And then the market tells me what the standards need to be as far as activities. Like I said, we were 10, then we moved to 20 because it just wasn't, you just saw it. So like, let's just try 20. Let's just double. Let's literally, everyone says double down. Let's actually do it. And then my other standards are come to my team meetings, as much as you possibly can. And then don't be an asshole, contribute, don't blame and complain, come from contribution, have that spirit in you in the organization. I don't do the taking. I don't do the blaming and complaining. I don't do the pointing finger stuff. It's just toxic. I'll rarely let somebody go because of productivity or production. I will let somebody go for toxicity. Second is, like I said earlier, if you haven't said it 900 times, you haven't said it once. I still have to remind my people that trainings are Monday at 1. And they've been Monday at 1 for 5.5 years since we started the team. So, and then, I have a new, she's our agent services. She does a lot of our recruiting and meets with our agents, and she works with a lot of our brand new agents. She goes, the other day, and she's been with us for 5.5 years in the role, 2 months. And she goes, do I really have to remind the agents that training's at Tuesday at 1? I go, every single week. Every week. So not only do you have to reiterate the standards every single day, reiterate the values in the organization every single day, remind them of who we are every single day. And then the third question, which is you got to live it as the leader. And this is where I see a lot of leaders fail. If you think you're going to start a team and you're going to have more because you want more time and less responsibility, you will fail. I will bet against those people all day long. And that's not out of like a bitterness. It's just out of a truth. I see it all the time. And so you're the most potent example of the culture, the most potent example of it. And so for me, I love this game. I'm like you, man. I love it. I kill for sport. I heard somebody say this once: find something you love to do that you would do for free and find a way to get paid for it. I'd do this for free, like coaching and helping people get to the next level, and the art of the deal, and just growing organizations. I love it. I love it. And so it's easy for me to show up and be consistent. If I go too many days where I'm not doing this, my therapist would probably tell me this is bad, but if I go too many days not doing this, I don't feel like myself. And so I love it. I absolutely love it. And like you, man, like if you look, I look at your body and look at you up on stage and you're talking discipline. Your words matter, because my biggest motivation in life is like, I want my words to matter. I want, when I speak, I want people to take it in and to not just hear it, but listen to it and put it in their heart. And the only way I make my words matter is make my actions more powerful than my words. And so keeping those two things aligned every single day is like, it's my number one goal, is just alignment. And so when you have something to say, like I see you got your podcast, you got your huge team that you have forever. You've got your coaching programs, you've got your group coaching, you've got 5 other verticals that you've got in your business. And I look at your body, this guy's the real fucking deal. And too many people, I would say, what you do in your personal life shows up in your business life. And so I try to stay disciplined in both.
Yep. Love it, dude. So, okay, people see all the shit you're doing. They're like, yeah, but Dustin, man, you don't understand. I'm going through this tough time. It's easy to, see super successful people like you and think that maybe you've always been successful. Now, I didn't know this about your situation until, again, I heard you speak on stage. But man, not too long ago, like when you started this, that like, man, you went through a tough time, sold everything, had to go live in a hotel, you got to buy in the fan. But can you kind of walk through, because I think it's really important for people to hear the struggles that successful people like you have built You know, so then we kind of get to know that. Well, shit, man. I mean, I've never known anybody that's created big success that hasn't been in through, you know, through their own insane shit storms. It's like they just chose to never give up and quit, and they just kept fucking pushing. And eventually, it paid off.
You're spot on. And when I had you on our Fired Up Fridays, I love your story too. It's my favorite type of people are the people that have been through hell and didn't quit and got on the other side of it. Like if you're a silver spoon person, nothing wrong with that. No judgment. It's just hard for me to connect with those types of people because, yeah, I grew up, I was a degenerate. I was a 1.6 GPA. I was 333 out of 336 graduating out of high school. I dropped out of the junior college that I was going to after the first semester. I was big into partying. I drank a lot, partied a lot. Shit, I would even say the first like started in real estate 21, I would say for about 6 years, I was partying all the way through. I was taking every check and depositing it at the bar, you know? And so working for the company, working for another company as the team leader, grew it up, but I didn't own it and I had no ownership in it. And our values weren't overtly aligned. So I went and started my own thing. So when I started my own thing, I sold everything because I didn't want to show any buyers and sellers. So I started the team out with 5 agents that I had recruited. And it was funny because I had someone the other day, they go, man, you know, I was at a breakfast and this was, you know, a couple months ago. And he goes, man, he's like, life's pretty good, huh? And I'm like, it's all right. I go, it looks better than it is, you know? And he goes, and he said something. And I said, dude, hey, you can do it too. Here's what you got to do. Okay. You got to sell everything that you own. Okay. Including your car. You got to move into a hotel room. You got to sell your spouse on the vision that you're going to have a house in the woods, a house in downtown Phoenix, a house here. You can do that. Then what's going to happen is when you start all this shit, a lot of your friends are going to look at you like you're crazy. And then a lot of your friends are going to start to push back. Like, what are you doing? Hey, why can't you hang out on the weekends? By the way, you're going to have to work probably 12 to 14 hours, 6 days a week minimum, dude. And then you can have it. Then your dad's going to die in the middle of all of it. So you're going to be right on the precipice of things starting to go a little bit better, and then your dad's going to die. And then the place that you left, like the place that your job prior to, that was you were working with your mom, and you and your mom's relationship is going to go sour. And so you're going to lose your dad, and then you're also going to lose your mom for a period of time. Okay. And then you're going to have people that hate on you from the external, but you got to keep going and you got to stay disciplined and you can't listen to that shit and you got to double down. And then all the money that you start to make, you have to put that back into the business. And so you're not going to have really any personal income for probably anywhere between 1 to 3 years. That's if you go 6 to 7 days a week, 12, 14 hours a day. Okay. Then once you start doing well, you're going to have another opportunity because now good opportunities are going to start to come to you. Now you're going to have another good opportunity come to you. And then you're going to have to take all the money that you made off that, double down on that. Now you're starting over with another business. Then you're going to have to the people are going to start coming to you for advice. So you better have your shit in order. You better have your personal life in order because you don't want to be a fraud. So you better be dialed in personally because now you have to be a fucking example. Because you can be a warning or you can be an example here. And so if you're going to give people pieces of advice and you're going to lead them, you better lead your life at home too. So you better get your health and fitness dialed in. You better get your alignment with the things you say and the things you do aligned. And then you can start to begin to be in the position. And then, so if you want to follow that, you can do this too. And he just like looks at me like, holy shit, because I get fired up, right? And I'm like, because that's the truth behind every successful human I've ever met. That's the truth behind Joshua Smith. That's the truth behind my buddy Kevin Kaufman. That's the truth behind, you know, anyone that I'm influenced by or I allow it to influence me. That's the truth. It's not rainbows and sunshine, right? You start making more, different things start going down, right? I've got 11 companies now that I've got to send K1s out every year. And then you got tax stuff that you got to start down and accounting on a higher level. And now you get employees and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And the responsibility gets bigger. I tell people this, your success in your business and your life is a direct reflection of how much responsibility that you can take on. People think you get successful and responsibility goes away. It comes on even bigger. Now, maybe once you exit, it goes away. You can get an exit, but that's the truth with any of my friends. Even got a friend, he's got 7 dealerships. They do about $500 million in revenue a year. And he was putting one day, and I'm like, pressure putt. He goes, motherfucker, I wake up with pressure.
Yep.
It doesn't go away. So,
yep.
long answer to a great question.
I love it, dude. That was awesome, man. That was perfect, dude. Real quick, not sure if you heard the news, but I recently decided to make the move and partner with EXP. So this way I could take my real estate business nationally and globally. And if you would like to set up a 100% zero pressure, fully confidential Zoom call with me personally to discuss what a partnership could look like, as well as what I can do to help support you in crushing and dominating your real estate goals, then make sure to go to www.gsdmode.com/partner. Again, that's www.gsdmode.com/partner. And I'm really looking forward to talking with you soon. All right. So, because again, man, a lot of people are struggling. And if they're not, okay, if they want to continue growing scale, like I always say, dude, like at some point you're going to go through your pressure test. Like, God does not reserve problems for a select few. It's like everybody's going to go through their pressure test. And when pressure's applied, 2 things happen. I look at it like a piece of coal, right? Most pieces of coal crumble under pressure, but a select few handle it really well and turn into diamonds. So it's like, making that commitment, like, am I going to be a fucking diamond or am I going to crumble like the vast majority, right? When you were going through, not that the pressure's still not here, but when you were going through, because when you're going through pain and you're not seeing the reward and the payoff, and sometimes it can be years before you start seeing that, like, what did you do to keep yourself pushing through and going and not allow yourself to, maybe that you didn't experience depression, but let that maybe depression overtake you so you could get out those 6+ days a week, 12-hour work days? Like when you're in the thick of it, worst of it, like what did you do to keep your shit going and moving forward?
Really good question. And I will add to this, there was depression, there was dark days. I forget, close to $500,000 in back taxes too, to add to it. That kept me up like fucking crazy. What keeps me going, and I will say this, I heard this from my mom. And I interviewed her like 10 years ago in front of the office, and she had sold everything to open up the Keller Williams. And she launched the Keller Williams, what was it, January of 2008. And so Matt Lauer gets on the TV. She tells the story. Matt Lauer gets on the TV and goes, the real estate bubble has burst. And I asked her, I said, what kept you going? Like, how did you not just like throw your hands up in the air? What kept you going? And she goes, I didn't have a choice. And the truth is, Josh, and you know this, she did have a choice. But that was her mentality. She didn't allow herself to fucking have one. And too many people, when things get tough, they allow for a choice. Right. And I believe me as a man, and I'm not saying every man should believe this, but me as a man, I'm supposed to shoulder the burden of my family, the pain of the family. If I'm at the funeral, I'm standing tall and my shoulders are available for a head to be on. And so I'm not going to bring this dark times home. And so the way I do it is I know nothing's going to get better if I don't continue to press, because it's all that I can do. And so I have this phrase, and a buddy says, he goes, what's the next best thing I can do? What's the next best thing I can do? I have a season of not sleeping very well. Okay. I get up and I do the next best thing I can do that day. So in those dark times, next thing I would tell people too is if you are in those dark times, number one, you can't quit. You just cannot quit. You are not allowed to quit. Period. End of story. I always say this when I get into those times, Josh, is like, this is when most people give up. You get the letter from the IRS and you're like, fuck, this is when most people quit. This is when most people allow their marriages to get bad. and they start bringing home bitterness, and they start, projecting it onto their spouse. This is when most people start bringing that to the office as well. And so I believe the number one skill any human being can have, if you only had one skill, it's the ability to regulate emotion. Because all discipline is emotional discipline, psychological discipline, a physical discipline. All it is the ability to regulate emotion. It's to sideline emotion and to do the next best thing, regardless of how you feel. See, people look at life, and I've done this too, which is they look at or. I feel like shit. I'm either going to feel like shit or I'm going to be disciplined. No, it's like I'm either going to take care of my kids or I'm going to build a big business. See that a lot, right? Blaming their kids for why they're not fulfilling their dreams. And they have this or complex. I always say it's and. I cannot get a good night's sleep and I'm going to get my shit done today because people depend on me. I don't feel good and I'm going to get my shit done. I'm uncertain and I'm going to get my shit done, And so feelings lie a lot. And so, you got to feel what you're going to feel, but you can't rely on your feelings for advice. You got to rely on principles for advice. And the way that you get good principles is you find a mentor, you get involved in the, the GSD fucking group coaching. You get around people like you. People are like, how do I get around people like him? Buy the coaching, get in the program. And then when you're in that program, contribute and show up as much as you humanly possibly can. Because having other people that have gone through what you're going through, you're like, oh, I'm not alone. But what happens is most people get given this much information and they take it this far. When you get around people like you and you're in those group coachings and you're involved in those courses, go all the way the fuck in. Your goal should be the best student that course has, period. And that will get people to attract to you. You'll get winners to attract to you so that when you are going through difficult times, you have people to lean on. You don't have to always bring home that to your family, that darkness, that cloud. You can call up a Josh and be like, hey man, this is what I'm going through. I'll call up my buddy Kevin or my buddy Mark Lindsay, who's our investor. And he's like, oh yeah, dude, been through that a million times. And so, but the way that you get those relationships is by work ethic. And if you can't afford the coaching, sell your fucking couch, sell the TV, sell something that isn't generating anything for you. Sell it and buy the course and go all the way in, or buy the coaching or whatever, buy the mentorship or join a team or an organization of some sort that will help you get there. Again, another long answer, but here's the other last thing. When you look back at your life, I think Sigmund Freud said this, when you look back at your life, it'll be the times of pain that will often be the most beautiful. Pain is a gift from God. He goes, here. And I believe this, whether you believe in God or not, but God only gives you things when you're ready for it. So he delivers pain because pain is the only thing that will allow for us to be stronger. The things I can endure today because of the things I had endured yesterday or months or years ago, it's insane. And now when you're on the other side of it, that pain starts to pay. I read something the other day. It was like, fuck your morning routine. Success in business is two things: enduring pain and taking fucking consistent action.
Yep. Yeah.
Love
it, dude. Yeah. I don't know if you ever read any, Friedrich Nietzsche. But I'm a huge Nietzsche fan, but he's like, it just comes back to dude, the whole point of life is suffering, man. And I know it's maybe like initially kind of a twisted, morbid way to think about life, but it's like once you grasp and understand that the only way to experience growth is through suffering, and the purpose of life is growth, then the purpose of life is suffering. So you then can facilitate the growth, that you need. And it's, so much of a mental perspective shift where now you start looking forward to this shit, versus doing everything you can to avoid it. Cause we're in this huge element of, just complacency, degradation where, people just fucking are so addicted to comfort. And they'll do anything they can to avoid pain and just stick within their comfort. And, it's leading to a lot of issues, man. So one thing you said there,
Can I ask you something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask you something? I would like your take on this. I think this will be good. When suffering shows up in your life, whether it's pain in business, because you said something, you're like, when suffering shows up, you start to look forward to it. What is your mindset when pain shows up, and or when you're chasing the pain of business, right? Or of growth or whatever it is. When pain shows up and you're like, here it is again. What mentality do you enter that with?
Yeah, I mean, I look at this as pain is, whether you want to call it God, the universe, whatever, of waking me the hell up. Um, for that growth moment that I need, and whether that be that, okay, sometimes pain exists because maybe I got complacent in an area of my life that I started neglecting, and that's where that pain shows up. Sometimes it's because of a new growth and a new problem, and that's a new element of pain that I must experience, I must endure, I must learn from to get to develop the next step of leadership. But either way, I look at pain as just growth, right? Like it is an element for me to grow and expand, whether it be a lesson to learn from, or a lesson like to learn from the behaviors I'm not, that I'm lacking or haven't, that I've maybe I'm not meeting my standards, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Or the pain that's necessary for me to develop into the next version of my leadership. I mean, I look at like, dude, like caterpillar metamorphosizing into a butterfly. It has to go through a
Hmm.
lot of fucking pain, and it's like, okay,
Hmm.
that hole or that slit of that cocoon is only so big, and that butterfly has to go through all this struggle, days and days and days of struggle to be able to get out of that opening. But it's because all the blood's in the body, right? It's developed the wings,
Mm,
but all the blood's in the body, and it
yeah.
has to keep going through that struggle. And every time it's struggling, right, more blood gets driven in the wings. And then when the blood to body to wing ratio is at the perfect amount, then that opening is the perfect amount where it frees out. And now it's in this beautiful butterfly, and it's like, so I have a great relationship with it,
So good.
I don't know if that
That's so good. That's a phenomenal. I hope people you get some, like, I hope that people listen to this hear that, because I I always say there was a point in my life where I would get through the pain, I'd be grateful after it. But guys like you are grateful before it. You're grateful when the pain shows up, not after you're through it. And that's something that I've learned, but with guys like you, and that's a beautiful analogy.
Yeah, and sometimes it's, pain that I'm not proud of, but it's still pain that was necessary. As an example, I quit drinking 4 years. It's 4 years ago Halloween, so just over 4 years ago. Well, on that
Oh.
Halloween evening, my daughter's 12 years old. We're sitting there having a big Halloween party. I get freaking lit, dude, right? So lit to the point where my 12-year-old daughter had to help me up the stairs. Then we had our master bedroom door locked. It's just like one of those, like, you twist with your thumb, right? I couldn't get my own damn thumb into my own damn little lock. So my 12-year-old daughter had to open up my door. My 12-year-old daughter had to help me into bed. I was so ashamed, so embarrassed. And like, she's going to remember that for the rest of her life.
Mhm.
But that was the pain I needed to wake the fuck up, become a responsible father, and be like, I need to
Yeah.
quit this substance and battle this demon, because I'm long family line of alcoholics, and I was definitely a full blown alcoholic. But I needed that pain to wake me the fuck up. And it's a pain I'm ashamed of, but it was still a pain that was necessary, because otherwise, if I didn't experience that pain in that way, I'd still be fucking around with alcohol and doing probably stupid shit.
I fucking love that. That's it. That, I mean, it's attaching a beautiful meaning to it. You
Yeah.
know, it's finding the empowering meaning in every situation, whether it's good or bad.
So you said something. You said, okay, the most powerful thing that somebody could dial in would be learning the ability to regulate their emotions.
Hmm.
I get so many people, more so now than I think I ever have, where they're like, I'm like, what's your goal? And they're like, just to be happy. And I'm like, okay, well, there's like 8 emotions. Happiness is one of those. Like, to think you're going to experience happiness more than an eighth of the time is kind of delusional. Like, you know, but I will say this, dude, of
Yeah.
like, okay, I went the wrong route, because I knew that, okay, commitment is showing up and doing your necessary actions that you must do regardless of your emotional state. So versus learning how to regulate my emotions, I just learned how to fucking suppress them and not feel. And
Hmm.
then that obviously carried over into a lot of, marriage problems, like my wife would try to be having like concerning conversations with me. And I'd just be like, fucking, like my heart was just a fucking rock. Like just no, like I went to, yeah, it allowed me to perform like a motherfucker in business, but then the rest of my life was not good, right?
Mhm.
And I know that you do so much mindset coaching and this is, you have a lot of expertise in this. So, but we're not given, like, you don't go to school, like nobody talks about this shit anywhere,
Mhm. Yeah.
right? Like, how does somebody even begin to start learning how to even have awareness of the emotions, to be able to regulate them, to be able to control
Mhm.
them, to not let them take over their actions?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't know if everybody asked that. Right off the bat, everyone wants to be happy. I would say for me, I would say that's a pretty, and I'm just going to talk to you like it's just me and you. I'd say that's a pretty terrible goal. Like that's just a bad goal overall. If because chasing positive emotion in itself is a negative experience. Learning to deal with negative emotion and learning to feel it and then responding appropriately in itself is a positive experience. See, if you're always chasing a positive emotion, I got to feel good all the time. I mean, that's what substances are, right? The desire to feel good all the time. And most all growth in life doesn't feel good. So we have to have some of these principles in that we just have to accept them as they are, right? Like growth doesn't feel good. You know, we had one of our investors, ex-prosecuting SEC attorney, come in and look at every single one of our files and scan through every single one of our documents and look through every single account about 3 years ago. Not a whole lot of positive emotion there, right? But like you said with the drinking, dude, we are the most dialed because now she's come on our side and she helps us out and she consults for us. And she's an ex SEC prosecuting attorney. We are so dialed. It's insane. I took so much from that company and brought it to my other companies, realizing we weren't as dialed as I thought we were. And so, understanding that just chasing positive emotions and negative experience, and understanding that the things that you want in your life, you're going to have to learn how to um, respond. There's no good or bad emotions. There's just good or bad responses to emotions. Like, is sadness bad? And someone will go, well, yeah. It's like, well, okay, if your dog dies and you're not sad, you're a psychopath. Is anger bad? Well, no. If somebody hurts your daughter, grown man hurts your daughter, and you're not somewhat angry, you know what I mean? Like, that's not good. And so, but if you're happy, if someone's like, happiness it's great emotion. I go, okay, great. So if you harm somebody and you're happy, is that a good emotion? Right. So it's learning to respond to these emotions. And I was a lot like you, where I was cold hearted. Right. So people would tell me I was a robot because I didn't feel. And so you're right. I get home and I'm a robot. Fine. Everything's right. Yep. 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 I'd have that blank look on my face. I'm only looking right. And my wife's like, I'm going to leave you. Like, there's that moment. She was like, you're an asshole. And I'm like thinking to myself, no, I'm not. I'm just productive. And so I wasn't learning to feel those emotions. And so, how you began, how I did it, man, I'd be honest with you, just vulnerable. I have been Aliza Shapiro. She's on Instagram. You can follow her. She's been my therapist. She's phenomenal. I had this 80-year-old and his wife. They were a relationship specialist, learning relationships. There's a lot good relationships. You're not going to have emotional regulation. You're not going to have a good relationship. You don't know how to feel emotions, you're not going to have a good relationship. So, I got into therapy, and then I got into performance, psychological like performance coaching, and that's been great for me. And so yeah, I hope that helps. And then I got a list of 20 books I've read about it all.
Hey, Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast sponsor plug. Today's podcast is brought to us by Perfect Storm. Perfect Storm is an amazing website, CRM, all-in-one platform. It is a platform that I have that I use inside my own real estate business that's allowed me to become one of the top realtors and team leaders on the planet. If you are looking for a powerful, amazing, and extremely affordable all-in-one platform where you have all your front-end marketing, branding, lead generation website, as well as an extremely robust back-end CRM to convert your leads into customers and to clients, as well as built-in transaction management. Again, an all-in-one platform that's only $199 per month. So extremely effective, extremely robust, at the same time is extremely affordable. All my personal marketing and drip campaigns are built in there, and I will personally help ensure that your website is set up correctly, to make sure that your CRM is set up correctly, and make sure that you are trained on the platform properly to ensure that you are crushing it and kicking ass inside your real estate business. If you want to learn more, watch a full recorded video demo at perfectstormdemo.com. www.perfectstormdemo.com. All right, now back to the podcast. Yep. Love it, dude. So then, what are you guys currently doing? And I know we're going long on time, so just a few last questions.
No, all good. Yeah.
Okay. So what are you guys doing currently for recruiting agents? Like, what's working for you to go out there and get new agents to the team?
Yeah. So I follow I look at it like this. I don't look at it as recruiting. I look at it as inviting. So I would ask yourself this: if I came to your team meeting, I came to your training, I came to your organization, would I want to join it? Yeah. And if the answer is no, well, then you need to get your organization to a point to where if they saw the show, they'd buy a ticket, right? Like they would want to see it. And so we had this phrase of like, you got to give somebody an experience of what it's like working with you prior to working with you. And so we do inviting. So one thing is we have a team meeting every single morning at 8:30. It's about anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes every single morning. And we invite new agents and veteran agents to that meeting. If you like that meeting, you're going to like us, right? The second thing that we do is, so meetings, second thing we do is we do trainings. So we have trainings every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. We invite people to our trainings, get people in, and deliver those out, or deliver those trainings and top notch. So make sure your training is actually good. Third is we do emails. So this is one thing that I hated for so long. I was like, I'm not writing an email. I don't want to write an email. I don't like emails. But all of my friends were like, dude, write emails, you idiot. And so write emails so good that like people get excited to get them in their inbox because they're that juicy, because they're that good. There's that much value in them. And so we've been sending out those emails, and those have been fantastic. For instance, we do quarterly masterminds where we just invite a bunch of people to the mastermind. I call it chunking. Killed two birds with one stone. It's great value to my team, as well as I'm able to bring people in, and I bring some of my friends down from different areas that come down and speak at them as well. And lastly is through our own agents. So some of the best agents we've gotten through our own agents. And constantly, remember, if you haven't said it 900 times, you haven't said it once. So constantly reminding our agents that we're looking for top people that look like you, that act like you, that value what you value. And here's the benefit of the growth of this organization. If we grow it to this, we're going to be able to do this, 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 and this. And if we grow it to this, we'll be able to do this. If we grow it to this, we'll be able to do this. So you got to sell the vision on why growth is important. And if you're asking for growth out of your people, your organization needs to be an example of what it is that your standards are for the organization. So if you want the people to grow in the organization needs to do the same. So those are kind of our pillars for as far as recruiting is concerned. Michelle meets with a lot of the new agents and gets them on board. She also meets with the veteran agents first. If she's like, hey, this person's great, I will meet with them. And those recruiting appointments are all psychographics. I don't go, I try to get to know them as a human being. What's up, man? Who are you? Great. Tell me, where'd you go to high school? Go to their life story, figure out what's important to them, because what motivates one guy is not going to motivate another. And so figuring out what motivates them, figuring out what's important to them, and figuring out, the reasons as to why they may not be getting there now, and then solving those problems for them with your organization. So I try to go deep with my people.
Yep. Love it, dude. Can I ask you about EXP?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, dude. So, you made this move, you were at KW for a long time, made this move to EXP, and, for it's a false paradigm, but it exists out there where those that are not with EXP, a lot of them just see that organization as this recruiting company.
Yeah.
And like I said, they have rev share, which is an amazing portion of it. So agents can go out there and make money. And I know, you and I have got a lot of mutual friends that it's been a life changer for them and their family forever with being able to take advantage of that. But the vast majority of those that with EXP are there to go out there and produce. And if you look at this, especially like notice over the last 12 months, like every top freaking team leader, like you look at the top, they're pretty much now with them.
Mm-hmm.
And you're somebody that like you have made that move to focus on your production. Like you're not
Mm-hmm.
at this time focused on building rev share. Like you're focused on kicking ass and growing your own business. Um, so with that, like what's the value that you've seen? Because I've had other guests on that maybe did big downlines and maybe they were, but
Yeah.
I'm really curious of what kind of value that you've seen and how it's impacted your business with the growth that you've experienced.
Great question. And you're right. I'm not focused on the downline. And for the people that say, though, that's all EXP focuses on, that'd be like me going to a top real estate agent and saying, all you care about is the commission. It's like, well, it's part of it, but no, I care about my clients and I care about my people and I care about my business and I care about people and I'm impacting them in a positive light. The commission's part of it, right? The rev share is obviously part of it. I mean, I think I've got 60 people in my downline and they're just giving me free money. I mean, it's pretty awesome. I've worked at brokerages, they didn't give me anything. So, but for me, what attracted me to it first and foremost is my friends. I've been very blessed to have a lot of great people who have impacted me in this business. I love this business. It saved my life. I was a degenerate. And I always say when I found real estate, I was like, how do more people not know about this? Like, what? I mean, I can make calls, hang out with people, help them find a house and get paid. And so I originally went over because a lot of my friends were going over there. And um, I don't look at brokers or logos or whatever. I just want to go where the great people are. I don't care the logo. I don't care the whatever. I just want to go where great people are going, what they're doing. And when I saw a lot of smart people do something, it's like, all right, I'll roll. So that was the original. The second reason, though, that I went over too was I am an entrepreneurial spirit. Um, I am a small government guy. I am not big on regulations. I'm not big on you telling me what I can and can't do. I'm not big on, hey, if you don't do this, you won't get on stage. And if you say this and you can't say this and you can't say that, I don't want none of that shit. I want to be able to be myself. I want to be, left alone but supported. And that's one thing that I've gotten, with EXP is I'm able to be entrepreneurial. I'm able to add these different things. I'm not like hounded by a broker every day. I'm not hounded by a team leader every day. Why aren't you at the meeting? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? And so that's the other aspect of it that I really like. I would be lying if I said I haven't made a ton of money on the stock. I put 5% of my commissions into stock. And so that goes into my ShareWorks stock account. It's still in there. And so that's a great part of it. And then just the contribution. I mean, but to be real, if I called you tomorrow and I asked for something, bro, I know you'd give it to me. And like we have so many great people in our industry, and it's no different than over at EXP. They called a guy yesterday. I was doing a joint venture thing. I'm like, can you send me the paperwork on that? He's like, yeah, I'll send it over to you right now. Let me delete some of the names. Send it over. That saved me a couple $1,000 with an attorney. Um, so I like that. Those are really my main things, man. I like the people here. I like that I can be entrepreneurial and we're moving forward and we're pushing and we got some smart people over here. And three, the rev share and the stock options and whatnot's great. And then four is just the contribution. I mean, I really though, to be fully honest with you, is one thing I love about you, and I don't know if you try to do this or not. I like to kind of beat to my own drum. I like to kind of do my thing, and I'm able to do that over here. I don't need to be in like in the whole thing. I like to do my thing, and that's one thing I've always loved about you is you seem to be. I don't know if you try to do it, but it's my perception of you is you beat to your own drum, man. You do your own thing. You're dialed in on your people. You're focused on your people. You're focused on bettering the lives of people who want to be a part of your life. You're focused on being better in the people that want to be part of your coaching group. Anything outside of that, cool, do your thing. I'm not trying to convince anybody to be a part of my life. But if you want to be it, I'm in for it. If you don't, that's cool too.
Yep. Yep. 100%,
Yeah.
dude. All right, man. So you got your podcast with the Fire Up Fridays. I don't know if you're
Yep.
doing other, content with that, or I don't know if is that technically a podcast?
Yeah, kind of. So it's like it's a live thing that we do. So it's just firedupfridays.com. It's always free. It'll always be free. It's a free call that we do. Our call, we bring on guys like you, guys like my buddy Chet Black. We bring on, Kristen Cole's been on there, Kevin Kaufman. We've brought on, man, just a bunch of people in our industry, of people that I admire and respect and love.
Yep. So, okay, you got Fired Up Fridays, and I'll have links below for all the guys to go check this stuff out. But, amazing content out there. Obviously, you got, your team, but then you got the coaching. I don't know if you
Yep.
want to just spend a few minutes before we wrap up here
Yeah.
talking about the coaching and
I
go
I do
ahead.
one-on-one coaching. I do one-on-one coaching with people who are wanting to start a team or a brokerage that want to take their business to the next level. Looking for people who are ready now, like that want to actually build a business and they love business and they're committed to building a business. But other than that, man, I follow me on socials. I love to interact with people that do what we do.
Yep. Yep. So then, okay, Fired Up Fridays, as you said, it's fireupfridays.com.
Yep.
Just in case, and anybody that's watching or listening, whether you're on YouTube or listening to this audio, if you scroll below to the show notes or the description, I'm going to have all Dustin's links in there, social media links in there, so you can follow him as well. And then if they have a referral for Lake Havasu for your market, we'll get a link for it. Just reach out to you through email.
Yep.
What's the best way to reach out to you there?
Yep, just reach out to me. Dustin J. Runyon at gmail.com. Give me a call. We're Apex Real Estate Group, APX Real Estate Group, here in Lake Havasu. You can Google it. Phone number's right there. We're always happy to take referrals and yeah.
Yep. Hell yeah. Well, brother, this has been awesome catching up, man.
Thank you.
Jamming with you, dude. This has been a lot of fun, my friend.
I really appreciate it. Honestly, enjoy. I love talking to you every time I get the opportunity to. You've got an incredible mind.
Yeah, it means a lot, man. And then same to you, dude. And those
Thanks,
watching,
brother.
listening, truly appreciate you guys. All your support. Keep crushing it. Keep kicking ass. And we will see you next time. Peace. Hey, Joshua Smith here, and thank you so much for watching or listening to this GSD Mode podcast. And as a quick reminder, make sure to check out www.gsdmode.com for more free additional training and resources. On there, you can also schedule a 100% free, zero pressure Zoom coaching call with me personally, where I can help you get dialed in inside your real estate business, no strings attached. At gsdmode.com. You can also learn more about my coaching program. You can schedule a Zoom call with me to learn about partnering with me at EXP, can learn more about Perfect Storm and more. So again, check out gsdmode.com. Keep up all the amazing work. Keep crushing it. And we will see you next time. Peace.